Hi, my name is Jay Silver and thanks for visiting. You're about to learn how to give amazing oral sex to your girlfriends or partner. I'm going to share with you some oral sex techniques and tricks that you won't find in any books in the bookstore, magazines or on DVDs. And I'm also going to teach you a couple of secrets that I guarantee you will not find anywhere else except for here. I've also taught some of this on courses to men and women around the world, and I find it very strange indeed that I have never met a girl that knows even half of what is in this manual about giving a girl great oral sex. Why is it then that I have been asked to do this? Why are so many people visiting my site looking for tips and advice on giving a girl oral sex, and why was I asked to write this manual? Well, maybe you were experiencing what I did too. The problem in the beginning for me was I started off by reading the advice given in magazines. And I can tell you now that they do not have a clue. In fact, I'm still amazed that they get away with writing the crap that they do. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist and obsessive compulsive by nature, and for the last 20 years or more I have been researching, studying and experimenting with a whole variety of oral sex techniques to learn how to give my partners as much pleasure as possible. I used to sit in the bookstores and read all the books available on sex advice and education, and soon realised they were just regurgitating the same conservative rubbish that at best would lead to a boring, prudish sex life. So I started to look elsewhere and thankfully came across some books written thousands of years ago in parts of the Orient and India. I finally started to get somewhere, but it didn't end there. I studied these ancient arts and after a long time managed to gain a good level of ability. Then after decades of searching through scientific research papers, sex surveys, buying books and questioning girls on girlfriends on what they liked, I started to really learn and understand how to pleasure a girl using oral sex. However, the breakthrough came when I learned hypnosis and then got introduced to a state-of-the-art branch of psychology called neuro-linguistic programming. And that was when everything really changed. However, this manual isn't so much about that. How can it help you then? Well, I've spent over 20 years studying this subject and have put together all the best bits in this 50-page instructional manual. It isn't full of anatomy and physiology like a lot of the books on the subject of oral sex and cunnilingus that are out there. And I don't just waffle on and on with theory using fancy, flowery words. It is, however, a manual that tells you step by step what to do in as few words as possible, and I have also included some sections on the hypnosis side and how to use NLP. It really is fun, useful and works. In this manual, I'm going to explain to you why you should be careful of any advice from the books on sex or oral sex out there, the magazines, your friends, and even porno films, and this will be backed up by scientific research. I'll explain to you why most of what you read in textbooks on oral sex is incorrect, and why there is so little information on the subject, and this too is based on scientific research and studies. From this you will start to understand why and where many guys and girls out there are going wrong and why it isn't their fault. I'll teach you why your physical and mental prowess has to be in the best possible shape to give great oral sex and what to do to exercise and strengthen them. I'll teach you how to learn exactly how your partner wants to be given oral sex and the best way to learn how to get her to have explosive orgasms. I'll teach you how to build her sexual energy up so that when you do give her oral sex, it will feel amazing to her, thereby helping you and making what you do seem a whole lot better. Then we get to the really fun part that you want to learn, the specific techniques on how to give the best oral sex. You will learn the ones that work best, why they work best, and how to do them correctly to make you seem like a strong, masterful lover. Some of these techniques I've never read in any books on oral sex and only learned through a lot of trial and error. One of them I learned from a prostitute who works in a place called the Little Whorehouse in Texas. She said it was her secret weapon and that every one of her female clients loved her for it. One of them I only learned after reading a medical research paper on labioplasty, and it is by far one of the best techniques I have ever learned and improves the sensation of cunnilingus for a girl that is off the chart and through the roof. You will never learn about this anywhere else. You will learn that whatever you do, want to do or fantasize about doing, you can do if you know how to do it in the right way, and your partners will thank you for it. I'll explain some rules about the proper speed, duration, and the correct amount of force to apply when given oral sex, so at least you have a guideline rule to work from to allow you to then confidently develop your own styles. I'll explain how to read her signals, so once you go for it yourself, you can measure your success on her responses and have her thinking you really understand her needs as a lover. I'll give you some tips on using food stuff, toys, vibrators, and how to involve taboo areas like the anus in your sex routines in a responsible manner that makes you look sensitive and an alpha male at the same time in her eyes. If you haven't already tried them, you might learn some really good new positions to try that are comfortable enough so you can give prolonged oral sex and leave your hands free to stimulate her in other ways, doubling and trebling her sexual pleasure. I'll also give you a crash course on the G-spot, the S-spot, and a point in the clitoris that allows you to keep stimulating the clitoris during orgasm and long after. This is something that some of you guys out there will know is difficult to do. As with many girls, the clitoris gets very tender and sensitive during and after orgasm, and they don't really want it touched. Yet with this technique, you can prolong their orgasms for 10 to 20 minutes quite easily and give them even more stimulation afterwards. They will look at you like a sex god and want you in bed with them more and more. You can expect them to be all over you afterwards, wanting you more and to pleasure you more. And as I mentioned, there is hopefully enough on some aspects of how the mind all comes into play with this, that if you follow the instructions, you can strengthen the power and intensity of her orgasms in as little as 30 minutes. So why buy this course? Well, it's so you don't have to spend years searching through research papers and reading every book on the subject to try to learn it, not to mention the cost involved. And I give you a personal guarantee. If you already know all the tips, tricks and techniques I explain in this book, then you can contact me for a full refund. I can't be fairer than that, but I'm confident that some of the things you will learn in this manual will be revelations to you and change your sex life forever. You can guarantee that the girl you meet or are dating will never have experienced some of what you will learn in this manual ever before. I know this from experience, and because the information just isn't out there for you to find unless you have gone to the lengths that I have. Imagine if you could learn just one thing from this manual and then give your girlfriend a mind-blowing orgasm that she's never had. Imagine how happy she would be with you, and imagine if she told her friends all about it. How good would you feel? Click on the link below and join me and the other people who have bought this course as we go on an amazing journey that only a few lucky people will have the courage to come on with us. Enjoy and thank you. Jay out.